Hi, this is Arik,
And Aurelia.
and we're here to talk about life and interesting things.
Or so we think, but in the end, we let you be the judge of that.
Either way, what we have to talk about today is
Ageless.
And we are currently in the month of Leo. What's the sigh about?
First thing that comes to mind is the wallpaper on my phone.
Oh. Because, are the wallpapers I created for each of the signs that you can get on my site, is that what you... Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you have to admit, it's better than last year's. I mean, it's not that the design's bad, it's just...
It's the energy, it's not bad at all. The design is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
And it works also. I mean, just so that you know... in the time it took me to, set the wallpaper, I started to sweat as if I were in the desert.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because I designed them with color therapy, you know, and because every sign has a different color, and the way that it works is basically you get the sensory input, and then it travels through the nervous system, and then it gets processed through the sensory cortex in the brain, and then it gets processed through the motor cortex, and then it's being pushed out, and then it does something to your body. I mean, that's
Obviously.
how color therapy works.
Yes. And so that was my sigh, because I said, oh my God, it's really Leo. It is so intense. It has so much fire. It is so much energy. But other than that, we're doing great.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of energy, and that's, it hit me today because I'm always thinking about things, and then I get more ideas, and then it's things make more sense. But I realized today, because as there's just so much energy available during the month of Leo, that your ego needs to use the energy. And that's why the ego just goes out of control. It's like an endless buffet.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen people buffets before?
Sadly, yes.
I mean, that's what, this is my place, this is my table, this is my plate, and that's all my food.
Yeah. No, and the way I see it, with all that energy, if this energy, if I allow my ego to use all this energy, then I'm totally going out of control. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's why you have to restrict.
Yeah, and I think not a lot of people are doing that, actually. When I'm out there and looking around, people are very aggressive, and it's you better be very careful in your car, because there's borderline road rage and stuff. So
Aurelia, nobody is restricting.
okay.
It's just madness. I mean, it's a very spiritual thing to restrict. I mean, most people, what they call restrict is repress. And then that creates its own set of problems. Most people are just repressing, and then they think that they are being disciplined, but it's not. And that's just pushing the energy more and more and more down. But with all that fire, I mean, it's really intense. So either way, one of the things that I wrote about in one of my horoscope forecasts for the season of Leo was sincere self-importance. And I want to just kind of hear what you have to say about that. What is it?
Well, the best way I can describe it is that I am self-important without knowing that I'm self-important. That's sincere self-importance.
Oh my God. You totally just nailed it.
Yeah, because, I can think of myself as being the most humble person on the planet, but really I'm just really self-important.
How are we supposed to deal with people like that?
Well, it depends, as always, what your relationship with the particular person is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, sometimes I just have to laugh. I mean, like, not laugh out loud, but
Yeah.
have like an inner smile.
Yeah.
The way I would, when Saya is doing something really cute and funny, but she's not aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
And it also, I mean, I don't want to sound conceited, but Saya also wouldn't understand it if I pointed out to her.
Yeah.
And with sincere self-importance, most people would not understand it even if you pointed out to them.
Yeah.
That's the sincere part.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I am justified in being so, it's not even it's like I see what you're saying, like with sincere self-importance, for the person who's being sincerely self-important, it's just important.
Yeah.
There's no self.
No.
It's just, no, this is important.
It's important,
and you know what?
That's right.
I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you exactly how this is going down. And there's no negotiating it.
No, there's not. And there's also not seeing a bigger picture. And for me, like, and I swear, like, I really didn't want to talk about this again, but it's just, it always is right in front of our noses. But
Tell me.
like with the Black Lives Matters, that's sincere self-importance, because there's a big cause and the people do not even realize, not even in the slightest, how racist they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when I say all life matters, then that's what I mean. All life, period.
Yeah, I mean, you've been saying that for years, though.
Yes, and I do not discriminate, by color of the hair or the nose. It doesn't matter. But then if I say Black Lives Matter, this is like so racist, and people do not understand that. They do not see that.
Mm.
And that is a case of sincere self-importance.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Of course, I mean, we're all for it, that everybody is being treated equal and fair. However, hey, let's get real. Life ain't fair. If you have not noticed that, then sorry.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with, your creed or...
Yeah, I feel like sincere self-importance tries to change others.
Yes, of course.
Like that's for me, like how I've kind of really understood it, because I just kind of like get the messages and I just write it, and and I always learn more and more. But like what I've learned is kind of like that this is about changing others. That's what sincere self-importance is, which violates like the first rule of anything. Like, you cannot change somebody else. And if you do something like setting out with an intention of changing somebody, doesn't have to be right away. It might evolve, Like, I've changed myself, so now you have to change because I don't want to end the relationship, So you have to change, otherwise we can't be in a relationship. That's not an option because that goes against some images or codependency that I have. And so then that's sincerely self-important because I care. I want you to change. You need to change. This, there's everything wrong with that.
Yeah.
And so I think
because like this is shaming,
Oh.
It's like it's shaming. Sincere
self-importance.
We're like, yeah, we'll
that's
shame
totally
the
Leo
other
energy.
one, and yeah, totally.
It's intense, like
diminish them, put them down, and in more or less charming ways, because Leo can be very charming.
Oh, I mean, most Leos that I have known, like when, or people who have very strong Leo energy in their chart, maybe not even Leo, because you could be Leo rising or Moon in Leo or something, I know that they've done this kind of like, here's some advice, but like in this very patronizing, playful way that's just kind of like, wait, did I just get insulted? Wait, what just happened? And we were just talking about it. I just actually said that in a video also. It was like, I asked my developer, I said, what's your sign? And she was like, Leo. And then I asked my designer, I said, what's your sign? And she said, Leo. And I was like, oh my God. And then I asked my other developer and I said, what's your sign? And he said, Leo. And I was like, oh my God. Oh Lord. It's like, how am I supposed to deal with all this fixed fire? I mean, these are people I'm working with on a daily basis, And then, I look at my progress chart and it's like, oh, look, 6, 7 planets in Leo.
So anybody ask how I'm dealing with that on a daily basis.
No, but I mean, in all good, fairness, it's, lots of love and, lots of expression, but, rarely expressed. But I mean...
Nobody's perfect, not
true.
even the Leo.
It's perfect. Like the cat. And yeah, so I mean, it's just, the sincere self-importance really intense. It's really intense. And I think it's just something, to think about and to contemplate and try to become aware of, because it's such a blind spot.
Yeah, and we all have Leo in our chart. Let's not forget it. So there are some areas of our lives, where we are sincerely self-important.
Yeah, for sure. And with that said, if you need help with that, I strongly suggest signing up to my Leo meditation, the quantum meditation. You can do it throughout the month. I'll put a link in the description somewhere. You can send me an email at bookings@ariksander.com. It's $12, and you can watch it for 30 days. I mean, at least until the Leo season's over. So that's really helpful. But yeah, thank you for really elucidating that, like, that it's just this, you're not aware of it. Really interesting. And yeah, like, dealing with these kinds of people, or people who really have this strong issue, I guess it depends on your relationship, because I mean, also in so many cases it's like they just start talking about themselves and they can't stop, and you're just kind of like, okay. And if you don't talk about them, they're not interested.
That's right. Well, talk about them, they're not interested, but also if you talk about them, they're half interested. You have to always praise.
Yeah, you have to always... That's true. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Because, if we're talking about that sincere self-importance...
It doesn't bring fulfillment.
No.
They're always looking... They need praise to supplement, because it's not bringing them fulfillment.
Exactly.
So they're always hungry.
Yes.
Always hungry.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So then they become like energy vampires.
Worst case scenario, probably. I've never thought about it.
I mean, like, rather than using the energy from the sun, so to speak, or like the light, the universe, they need that praise from other egos, because they're doing it from ego, so they need fuel from ego.
Yeah, let's not forget, like, if I use the energy or the light, like, from
Burn
the
them
sun, then that's really putting like a spotlight on me and also on my issues, and so then I have to deal with that. But if I just get like the praise, like the filtered light from other egos, and that's codependence, then I really don't have to look at shit. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You can curse like here and there. That's really interesting what you just said. I was doing an atonement earlier for like a person who thinks they have it all figured out. And that kind of makes sense.
And I just want to say, yes, I cursed, but it only is a half curse, because I mean, I also really just don't have to look at shit, you know, like the
Poop.
the
Low
stuff, the
vibrational
low
stuff.
vibrational stuff that's like inside of me, maybe that my ego does not necessarily want to deal with.
Yeah. Like that attitude doesn't have to, because
Yeah.
of course we have to look at it.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Yes, yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, sooner or later we have to look at it. And so I think I want to tell everybody there that's listening that if you are ever wondering how people are ever getting away with being negative and stuff, you know, take it from me, like, this is like, sooner or later it catches up to them. So don't ever, you know, pass judgment onto somebody or wonder how they're getting away with stuff, because, you know, it's almost like when you are judging others for doing stuff that's weird or whatever, like that you think that's just not right, in a way, like you're delaying their judgment, like their own way of needing to look at their own stuff. So just stay focused on yourself and don't be distracted by other egos that are doing other things.
Yeah, nobody gets away with anything. I mean, this is just because we're also short-sighted, because we don't have the bigger picture. You know, and this alone is grounds for me enough to not judge. Because I say, I really don't know what's going on. And
I wrote that in the office in big letters for everyone to see. I don't have the bigger picture.
yeah.
And it was so intense because I was in there and I was looking for something and it wasn't making sense, and then I just started gazing off to the distance, and whoa, I don't have the bigger picture. Oh yeah, that's right. It was a good reminder for myself. I mean, it was really helpful because they're just like, yeah, I mean, especially in that, you know, our office environments, it tends to be very, you know, believe it or not, very magical, and things just kind of like flow in, and so it's like something wasn't adding up, and it was like, nope, I don't have the bigger picture. And yeah, it's like you said, because the ego can be very myopic at times.
Yeah.
It has no connection between cause and effect, so don't fill it in with judgment. That's my advice.
Good advice.
So we'll be right back after this to talk a little bit more about things that we talk about in Ageless. This episode of Ageless is brought to you by Speechless, an unedited, uncut version of Ageless where we talk about things beyond the veil. Sign up to Speechless on Patreon. Alright, we're back here, Arik
And Aurelia.
and I hope you had a good break. I also want to mention we have a Ageless playlist on Spotify that you can listen to. You can always listen to a few songs in between, you know, segments. It's a good idea. It's a really cool, uplifting playlist. I update it regularly. Also have a Leo playlist, which is pretty cool. But because we talked a little bit about energy vampires in part 1, can you elaborate? What is an energy vampire?
It's explained quite simply, because an energy vampire is a person who does not take the energy that's available to them through their crown, but through their solar plexus, which is from other people.
So basically what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And that's just what it is.
Can you feel when people are like trying to suck energy from you?
Of course, everybody does. Like, you know, you are with people, and then after 10 minutes you feel like exhausted and you feel drained. And this does not mean that maybe they are just in a bad mood or that they set like a bad ambience, you know. Not at all. Like, they can praise the hell out of you, you know, and all of that, and you feel like, oh my God,
Violated
I'm
in a way.
so
Yeah.
tired, and like I feel like, yeah, violated.
Yeah, violated is like the best way I can describe it, because like, you know, like we're in these 3 negative weeks now, and there's a lot of violations.
Yeah, crossing of boundaries.
Yes. a lot of like no boundaries whatsoever. Like people just feeling like they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, like this intense light that reaches everywhere,
Yeah.
that really does not have boundaries.
It's literally the light that goes where the sun don't shine.
Yeah.
And then you see what is where the sun don't shine.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with it?
Mm.
You know? So yeah, energy vampire, what can we do to protect ourselves or to restore ourselves from energy vampires? Other than like take a nap. Which I don't even think is helpful actually, taking a nap, because then I feel like you have to like sever the cord with energy vampires or something. Like I feel it too sometimes. It's really interesting how you say that, like when you say it can also be disguised as praise or gratitude or respect. It's like I never thought about that before, but in hindsight I can totally see that. Like I didn't feel drained, but I felt violated, like dirty. Like it just felt dirty afterwards. Like
Yeah, I mean, the best way to like stay clear of energy vampires is actually to stay clear of those people.
yeah.
Because there is no way that you can ever satisfy them.
But yeah, I mean, like there are just also some situations where you can't stay clear of them. So
How's that?
I mean, if you like work with them or something, and I mean, you can stay clear as much as possible, but I mean, you might have to see them, you know.
No, yeah, but only because I have to see somebody. That doesn't mean, that I'm going to allow them to cross boundaries.
Oh, you literally mean stay clear.
Yes.
Like to keep your space clear,
Yes.
even if they're sitting next to you on the train.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like to literally. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, you always look at yourself first. And if your focus is with yourself, then really not a lot can
So basically, don't.
move in.
When you violate your own boundaries or the boundaries of others, then others can violate the boundaries of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look and see, why are you looking?
Mm-hmm.
It's so annoying. Like, remember how I tell you, like, all the time, it's like when I'm driving, I can feel, why are people, like, just, like, looking? Like, why can't they just, like, look at their own road?
Because you have this really rocket ship amazing car.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't look at it?
Okay, so a car is probably a bad example, but it's like, also even just, like, if you're, like, walking down the street or whatever, like, I don't, like, okay, like, eye contact, like, whatever, it's like, in the middle of the night, okay, like, you're not gonna get mugged or whatever, but, like, okay, but, like, I don't know, listeners, you probably have experiences like that, like, where just, maybe you notice, why are people just, like, gawking and looking, and, like, like, even, like, in Europe, for example, perfect example in Europe, I've never experienced that anywhere else, is, like, you walk down the street, like, you walk by a bistro cafe, and pretty much maybe at least half of the restaurant or the cafe is looking at everybody else. Including the people they don't know. You know what? Maybe I know that person. As if I'm not satisfied enough with what I'm doing. And that makes so much sense, like what you're talking about, like with, like this ego energy, like I'm not drawing upon the light that's available because I'm lonely or because I'm
Sincerely self-important.
Oh my God. I'm sincerely self-important because everybody needs to be looking at me.
Yes.
So I'm going to be looking at everyone else until I have it registered, einschreiben, received that I'm being looked at.
Yeah.
Because everyone needs to know that I'm there.
Yeah.
That's an energy vampire. It's intense.
Very.
I really didn't think it falls within this area, but I can totally see that it does. Because for me, like, energy vampires were, like, mostly coming up in Scorpio, but it makes sense that it also comes up in Leo because they're both fixed signs.
I don't even know in Scorpio, but
like vampires and like the
just like the
Halloween,
archetype
like
of
archetypal energy, like Scorpio sex drawing energy, stuff like that.
I'll think about that when the time comes.
But I'm just saying it's just always fascinating
it's
talking with you and learning,
Mm.
all these different aspects to it, and but basically it's like, and that makes sense why archetypically like vampires don't like sunlight, because it's not energy that they get from other people, but the sunlight is the energy they get from the higher self.
Wow.
And like when that comes, it burns them out, because
Makes sense.
as we know, the body is at the level of anxiety. Left to its own devices, the body is only anxious.
Always.
But as we have learned in Cancer, which is it's such a big shift going from Cancer to Leo. It's probably one of the biggest shifts in the whole zodiac, because it's water, water, fire, fire. It's like a shitload of steam. And I was just saying that it's like, and that's like the humidity and everything, like a lot of steam. Like imagine that. And in Cancer, like that month of healing, you're really bringing that light into the body. And then ideally in Leo, you say, okay, so now how do we express it? But maybe the body says, I don't want that. That's not giving me any like satisfaction. And ultimately it should be giving you like the ultimate satisfaction, but it's not coming with the glamour, and that's of course connected to the energy of Leo, definitely, like the glamour.
It's not glamorous at all.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, first of all, then I have to admit that my body is running on anxiety.
Yeah, and in a society like that where we're like basically worshipping models, and whether it's look at me at the bistro or look at me on Instagram, it's very difficult to admit that the body is just a golem. That's on left to its own devices. It's just anxious and worried, and by the way, if you're feeling anxious and worried, you know that your spirit's not in your body.
Yeah, that's right. Or then once again, if you do not deal with that and you don't take this seriously, then you may run the risk of animal rebirth.
Oh my God. And Black Lives Matter, what's the emphasis on that? The color of the body. Has nothing to do with the spirit.
None.
Because when you say all life matters, you're talking about the spirit.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Sad.
It's sad. I'm speechless.
But this is ageless!
I know. But it's really amazing.
Yeah. Imagine that. And this all from a little Leo season. But I mean, seriously, guys, if you think back, like every Leo season, like every August more or less that you can think back, what were your experiences? I mean, think about it. Really think about it.
Yeah.
How did it work out for you? What happened in Leo season? I mean, for me, in all honesty, as you guys know, we're traveling a lot, or used to travel a lot. And
before Corona.
So this year is actually the first year that we're here.
Oh my God.
And that I'm not on vacation.
Yeah.
And I feel the difference.
Me too.
I have to say, for me, Leo season was always really cool because I always was doing nothing. So thereby having a lot of time to look at myself and to take on the light, maybe even being at the beach or something and sunbathing and taking the light in on all levels and stuff like that. And so that made it pretty easy to handle. Now this year, it's not that easy. And yes, there is this extra anxiety from everybody and that anger. And like the corona thing, and yes, taking this in account. But then every year something is going on. It's not like this is the first year where there is something extra in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But just this not being able to turn off.
Yeah.
Really, for me, makes a difference.
Yeah, I feel it too. I totally agree with everything you're saying 100%. Like, actually, just today I had the thought, and I'm glad we talk about it now so I can really put a stop to it, because I thought, oh my god, I this is the longest I've been placed in one area for such a long time. I don't know how many months it's been, but it's like, and I start to feel it. And I started, wow, I mean, when will these restrictions be lifted? That, and it's not even about the restrictions, but it's also just about kind of like the normalcy. Like, I don't want to go somewhere and it's like,
You have a mask
and yeah,
on
have
on
a
the beach.
yeah, I don't want to have a mask on and stuff. So it's just like, it's really intense what you're saying. Like, I totally can relate to that with the Leo and everything. It's a big difference. It's really interesting. Like, as grateful as I am, I can also feel the difference too. So yeah, it's very interesting. So I think one message that I want to broadcast out with this episode of Ageless is that you guys, you're so much more than your body, and you're also more than your star sign, or the planets and whatnot, and you can transcend all of this and never feel limited by the way that you look, or any kind of, like, the way your body is or anything, because you're so much more than that, and you're so much more than your ego as well. And I have a little reminder that I tell myself every day. Actually, Google tells me that that the ego is an employee of the essential self, and not the other way around. So you can think about that as well, and I'm sure Google is gonna remind me tomorrow
At 8 a.m.
At 8 a.m. And so lots of love to you guys, and I hope we've given you some things to think about and to rethink about and to look in, and we're shining some light into whatever darkness that you may not be aware of. And this has been Arik
and Aurelia,
and you've just listened to a loving episode of Ageless. And be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to take it to the next level, please check out our speeches program, where we have different exercises. There are different tiers for everyone. We offer everything for everybody. And we will talk to you guys next time. And now we say bye-bye.
Bye.